I'm James Williams Jr. Welcome to Kung Fu Happening number 2. Okay, so, and this is my final video for now. I'm sure, I'll make another one or two before I go to bed tonight. And, this video is about the brutality of martial arts and how some people who are fighters don't have the honor, or they let their adrenaline make them do some really wrong stuff to other fighters in competition. So this basically works for you MMA dudes and mixed martial artist guys or UFC guys. That I know adrenaline is a powerful thing, and in fighting in all aspects, you must respect your opponent, and you must have the honor and the knowledge of knowing when to stop beating the person while they're down. As a street fighter, I was always taught that you should be brutal and you should be spiteful. As a martial artist, I learned that that was not the way. As a street fighter who became a martial artist, I was never in any street fight that I was ever in. I have never once in my life that I can recall, and I'm saying it like that because some of the fights I don't remember, but that I can recall, I have never kicked anyone while they were down. When the fight was over, it was over. That was it. I didn't brutally run up to him and boom, give him a knee or give him the bottom of my boot. I've always had some honor. I watch a lot of street fights on YouTube. I watch a lot of backyard fights. These guys that watch way too much MMA, and then instead of going to a school and get proper training, they just come right out and start going at it. And that's okay, because I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of the martial arts I learned after the dojos and before the dojos, I learned on TV. Let's keep that shit real. Before I ever took a martial arts class, I watched Kung Fu on TV all the time. My dad was alive in Channel 20. Him and my mom got a divorce when I was 6. So he was in my life for a little bit. And he's always been in my life, just not in the same city. So, when WDCA existed, and they had Channel 20, and June Ree used to come on, when you take June Ree self-defense, then you two can say nobody bothers me, those guys, me and the kids there are about the same age. But we had Kung Fu Action Theater every weekend at our house. No, my dad was not a martial artist. He admired and respected Bruce Lee. I was born 30 days after Bruce Lee died. If my numbering is correct, Bruce Lee died in July. I was born in August on the 23rd, and I think he died on the 20th or something like that. I'm not going to swear to that. I know Bruce Lee died in July on the 20th. His anniversary of his death will be coming up soon. So he would have been almost 70 or 80 years old now. But he was damn dangerous. My dad always had Bruce Lee movies on before the divorce. So I was always either reading a comic book or watching a Bruce Lee movie. So as my parents got a divorce and my dad moved back to his hometown of Smithfield, Virginia, I still watched Kung Fu Theater. And when I wasn't watching that, my dear sweet beloved uncles would come out and make me go live Kung Fu Theater. But we weren't doing karate, we were just street fighting. And in a street fight, anything and everything goes. Alright? But in those times, that whole year of 6 years old, I never kicked anybody while they were down, that I can recall. As I became a 7-year-old and learned martial arts until I was 10, I learned that kicking people while they're down was just wrong. So I never did it. But kicking people and knocking them down wasn't much better, but is what I did. I say that laughingly because when you're 10 years old, you know right from wrong. But when you're intimidated into fighting from the age of 6 to 12, where your uncles are up here and militarily trained, and in the 70s and 80s, that was not considered child abuse. Alright? And by the time it was considered child abuse, my dad had already stopped the fights. So, and I don't hold my uncles, I don't hold any anger towards them. I'm kind of grateful that they made me fight because I'm only 5'3", and I know that I can handle myself fairly well in a fight. As a martial artist, it's a contradictory clusterfuck on that. In other words, I have learned that that hasn't always been the best move. But what's done is done. I have sinned, and I own it. I have apologized to most of the people whose asses I've kicked. Maybe one person specifically more times than I probably should have, because he told me if I apologized to him one more time, you know who you are, Big R, then he would shoot me. Just so that I could stop apologizing. He knows that we were forced to do it as kids. That we fought because we didn't have a choice. I'm the one who feels guilty about it because I had the advantage of martial arts, which wasn't fair. So, I will never forgive myself for that. As for the other people, I don't give a damn about. But that guy, it was mostly always him. And it was bad. It was bad for me, it was bad for him, it was probably worse for him. Point being, the brutality of people in a fight is unnecessary. And if you're a martial artist and you're overly brutal, then you deserve whatever you get when your turn comes back around to be wearing the shoe on the other foot. As a street fighter, I was taught brutality was an okay thing. As a martial artist, I've learned that it is not. So, how do you differentiate? How do you know what to do and what not to do? When do you utilize your skills on what to do? You learn from experience. You learn what to do and what not to do. And you learn not to brutally bash people. You know, and that's the thing with that. I've learned in my 40 years of life, 45, excuse me, that you don't be exceptionally brutal in a fight because you have the might. You learn right from wrong. And martial arts has tamed the anger. No. Martial arts has slimmed down my ability to be evil to a certain degree. And you know, the thing with martial arts is that real martial artists guide you to do the right thing versus doing the wrong thing. Renegades like myself would prefer to do the right thing, even though sometimes the wrong thing is kind of necessary. I hate saying it like that, but it's true. But never is it necessary to kick your opponent while he's down. Now, if it's in the movie script, I'm okay with it. Because I know it's a movie and I know that my fellow actor is not really getting kicked in the face by me while he's down. While I'm making him read my Nikes, it's because that paper says my character is to make this guy read my Nikes. And by that it means, you know, kick the shit out of him while he's down. And it's also been worked through over and over and over again so that when the fucking camera is rolling, we all know that we're going to have a good scene. And then we're going to go home. And we're going to talk about getting hit in the face with candy glass. But in a real fight, you know, the last thing you want to do when a guy's beaten, he's beaten. If he's had enough, and you know he's had enough, don't put icing on the cake. Let him go. He's done. But if you're going to be brutal and you're going to go over there and tag him one time or kick him or knee him in the face while he's already unconscious, you have no honor. The brutality of that in itself is just wrong. And forgive me for this, and all senseis who can agree with me or disagree with me. If you're that guy, this is the guy's head. You run up and boom, you knee him in the face. He's already beaten. He's already down. He's knocked the hell out. And you want to run over there and just add insult to injury by racking his face with your knee. Then you deserve that to happen to you. When your time comes around and you fight somebody who's better than you, and they brutally beat your ass, you'll think back to why you did that to someone else, and you'll think about that shit for the rest of your days, which is why I've never done it that I can recall. And if I have, then I'm sorry. But I've also never been on the receiving end of a flying knee while I was down. I want you guys to think about brutality. I want you to realize that If you're fighting a supervillain, it may be necessary. If you're fighting a normal human being, it's not necessary. If you're fighting a guy like me who just won't stay down, it's not necessary. But in the event that it becomes necessary, the curling circle of karma does not discriminate. Man, woman, boy, girl. Everything that you do to someone else very well maybe fall on you if you're not careful. I'm James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu Habit number 2. Please don't be brutal to your opponents. Be seeing you. I also generally practice what I preach. Later.